All right, our final assignment for Unit 11 is something called Drawing 3C, Pattern. So if we take a look at the instructions here, or the recommendations over here in Canvas, that'll be helpful. This is what we're going for. This is the final drawing, what it looks like when it's complete. And take a look over on the course pack. The course pack has some details that you're going to need to follow. So we start off by drawing a rectangle using a brand new file. So we're going to start a new file, drawing from scratch. We draw a rectangle that will serve as the border around the piece of paper, and then we are going to create this figure down here. Now, you are not guessing the sizes. If you look at the next page has all of the sizes we're working with, so you know exactly how big this thing is as you work your way around. Okay, so the outside dimensions are called out. The distance between the outside here and the offset line is called out. The corners have chamfers. The distances for the chamfer are called out. Where you see a radius, there'll be a radius dimension for the fillet called out. And if you see the word or the abbreviation TYP, that means typical. That means that all the other fillets have the same radius unless there is a measurement that tells you otherwise. Here's what I mean. We see this fillet right here has a radius of 0.2. Well, there's no dimension on this one, or this one, or this one, or this one, or this one, right? Since there's no dimension, that doesn't mean that the size isn't important. It just means I don't want to put 12 dimensions for each of the 12 fillets. It just means TYP means they're all the same. Now, there is another fillet in this drawing. It's right here, but of course that's much bigger. That's why it's got its own dimension. So typical just refers to the ones that don't have a dimension. Same thing for the chamfers. The chamfers are sized here, but it says there are 12 of them. So that would take care of every chamfer that you're going to be adding to the outside of this figure, right? The distance, how far from the outside line to here, typical, 0.5, means that from here to here it's 0.5. Here to here, 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 and here to here. It's all 0.5 inches. So when you know that, it makes it very easy to use commands like offset to complete that. Over here, we've got some nested squares. This measurement's different. It's a 1/4 inch, but this is a 1/4, and this is a 1/4, and this is a 1/4, and then each layer, getting progressively closer to the middle, is also a 1/4, right? Each of those little steps is a 1/4 inch in from the last one. So, again, offset. There is a circle here with a radius of 2. I'm sorry, a diameter of 2. There's a circle here with a diameter of 0.5. Notice that it's important where you put them. See, the center of the circle needs to be 2 inches up from the bottom and 2 inches over from the right, and that locates the center point of that circle. And then we have a distance here for this edge to this edge. And then the last thing is we've got this little odd angle. Now, I don't tell you what angle it is. I just tell you that it has a rise of 0.5 and a run of 1. So this is a chamfer. And I know it doesn't look beautiful, 45 degrees, perfect little chamfer like these, but it's still a chamfer. It's just that this one has 2 distances. So maybe 1 inch could be distance 1, and 1/2 inch could be distance 2, and then when you click the corners here to make that chamfer, it will create that unequal chamfer that we're looking for. Now, I get it that this is a very complicated looking drawing, but it doesn't have to be, and you shouldn't freak out about it. What you want to do to get this thing started is just start a brand new file. Okay, brand new file, starting from scratch. And then my recommendation is just draw the outside shape without worrying about any of the chamfers or fillets. Just draw it as if the corners were square. What do I mean? Well, let's take a look. Alright, so going along with my instructions, it said to start by drawing a rectangle. I'm going to start at 0, 0, and it is 10.5 inches in the x direction at 10.5, comma 7.75. Okay, this is the border around my figure, and then it says draw the rest of the figure. And you know, don't worry too much about where you start, because if you start off in a bad place or if you need to move it afterward, well, isn't that what the move tool is for, right? So let's just begin and let's work our way around. Okay, so I'm going to start in the top left corner, and it says it's 2 inches, that first segment, and then it's 1.25 inches, the second segment, and then the next segment going down is 4. Right, so I'm going to just follow the dimensions that are on that drawing, and you know, if I'm a little off, looks like I'm a little off, who cares? We'll go move it afterward. I'm going to just follow the measurements that it gives me. 1.5 there, and 3 inches there, and 1 inch there, and I'm using direct distance entry to draw the outline, of course. 3.5 that way, 6 inches straight up, 2 inches over, and 2 inches down, and 4 inches over, and 3 inches up, and then back to the beginning, 3.5. And hey, if you land on your start point, I guess you must have done something right. So yeah, it is a little too low, which is no biggie. I'll just grab it and I'll move it. And again, as long as it's inside the border, I'm not really too worried about where you put it. Okay, and you can nudge it a little bit at a time until it's exactly where you want it. That's still sticking over. So I'll go in there and make another little nudge. Okay. And there we are. Now my figure is totally inside the border. Okay, and we're starting it off with the corner square. Well, if you do this, the next several steps are not that bad. Okay, I'm going to start by making my inside line work, and I'm not going to draw lines to do it. I'm going to use a command that basically makes a copy of one line a certain distance away from the other lines. Alright, and there's all my lines copied a ½ inch away. And you can use the copy command, you can use the offset command. Those are the only really easy ways to do this. Okay, so it's a little rough looking, but that's okay, you know, because I'm going to go in then, and I'm going to add some fillets. Fillet. And I better make sure my radius is correct. The radius on those little fillets is 0.2. So I'm going to go around and make some fillets now. And that looks pretty good. Got my rounded fillets on those corners. Got a big fillet out here, so I'll take care of that. Oop. Radius, no, F is for fillet, and R is for radius, and then much larger fillet. No biggie. Fillet will go in and clean that up for me. Maybe my next step will go make my chamfers. Right, so we're going to set the distance to the distances we need, and the distance is 0.25 for distance 1 and 0.25 for distance 2. And there it is, by the magic of Hollywood. All my 0.25 by 0.25 chamfers are taken care of. I do have this wacky chamfer over here, so I can set that up. I'm saying give me a 1 inch and give me a ½ inch, and that'll knock that off. Pretty happy about that. I need to make those nested squares now, so I will use some offsetting to do that. And yeah, I know that looks like a god-awful mess, but that's okay. It's gonna get us going. You can do some trimming to clean up the line work that you don't need. And when you're all done trimming, look what we have. We got a little square here in the middle, right? So, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch. If you use your measure tool and go in the center there, you'll see that this is a 1/2 inch by a 1/2 inch. Okay, your quick measure gives you some distances, right? Okay, looking pretty good. So our last step is that circle. I have a circle I have to put over here. I have to figure out how to locate it. So there's a number of ways of doing this. You come up with the way that works best for you. See, because basically we need to start right there where that corner would be and come 2 inches over and 2 inches up. And you can create that circle a whole bunch of ways. You can create that circle down here in the corner and then move it over and move it up. You can create that circle using the offset to find out where the center location is going to be. You can even create that circle using coordinates if you can give it a start point to work off of. So I'll let you decide how you want to do it, and we just want it in the right place and the right sizes. And voila, there it is. So make sure that you use the diameters. So that'll be the circle center diameter tool. Otherwise your circles will be way too big. And this is it. Figure is finished, right? Now the dimensions on the drawing in the course pack, the dimensions are there to help you to make sure that you draw the right size. And you are more than welcome, if you want to add some dimensions just to verify that everything you drew is the right size. Okay, but your finished drawing will not have dimensions. Okay, so dimensions are nice. They let you check, make sure everything is correct, because of course if things aren't correct, I'm going to bing you for some points. So this will take you through making the pattern drawing. When you're done, you'll be adding your name down here in the bottom, in between the figure and the border. As always, all caps. And then this assignment, you'll be submitting the CAD file to me, the entire file, so that I can see that everything is the correct size.